Hey guys, I'm Tyler and welcome back to the channel. Today we're in a new location. We're at the family's lake house. That used to be the lake out there. It is now a stream. More about that later. And today we're going to be replacing the floor with a luxury vinyl plank flooring, as you can see right here. Beautiful flooring, and it's got the padding integrated into it, so all you got to do is clip this bad boy together and you are ready to go. This is a floating floor, so there's no nailing, no gluing, or anything like that. Tools you'll need to finish the job. You don't need all of these, but it does make it go a little bit quicker. Obviously some measuring devices, utility knife, straight edge, mallets, and this little guy will help protect your edges of your luxury vinyl plank. I got a cordless planer and belt sander to help knock down any high edges or bumps. Jigsaw and circular saw to make your cuts in this. An oscillating tool might be another thing that is useful. It is around this house somewhere. And not necessary, but is going to make things go way faster for us, is a miter saw for when we need to make some miter cuts on here. You can do that with a circular saw and a square as well. As with any floor install, one of the first steps you want to do is make sure there are no huge bumps or uneven areas in the floor. There are two areas of concern in this modular home lake house of ours. The first is where the two sides of the house came together, and I'm able to take care of that very quickly with a planer and a belt sander. And the other area is a dip over by the wall, and we will get to that later. Here you can see how the planer really took out that bump, and we are perfectly flat over the connection point. The bro Anthony is cleaning up the floor, making sure we have no staples in there. First thing we want to do is make sure we have everything semi-square so we're not hiding a huge gap under this wall or under this side. And we are going to start with a small piece here so that we don't have this goofy seam right over here, which is where it would end up if we started with a full piece. We're going to cut that first one in half, and it is going to leave us with a little less than a half on this side, which is fine. I just didn't want a small little piece that we were going to have to keep dealing with, especially with the door frame right over there. So Dad is cutting down a piece that is going to go right in here. We're using a track and a circular saw for that cut, and it'll slide right in here underneath our first piece. Once we've got everything measured out from the opposing wall to make sure we're not hiding too big of gaps under the trim, it is time to start laying our first strip of flooring. And here I'm actually using a strip of the flooring itself to make sure I have proper spacing away from the wall. Once you lay this first strip, be careful that you don't bang it out of place as you're tapping things together, because there is not much weight holding it down to the floor. You can actually put some weights on top of it to make sure it doesn't move around as you are laying things out first. The first strip is always the hardest, as we had to build back into steps, around bumps, and so forth. This stuff cuts super easy with a jigsaw, circular saw, and whatnot, and even holes in here are super easy to drill. We quickly found that the best order of operations for the install was to tip the flooring piece up on its long edge and to slide it as tight as we could up against the next piece. Tip it down and seat the seam between the two pieces, and then use that little tool and tap it down the long side to make sure everything is snug. I would recommend always tapping the boards together with a hammer, because even if you think you have the board snug, it's not quite as good as you could get if you did use the hammer. And another little tip that'll just give you a better looking floor overall is to grab out of multiple boxes, not just work your way through one box at a time. And this will help you prevent a pattern that looks the same in different sections of your floor. As I mentioned before, this luxury vinyl planking cuts super easy. Working my way around the heat registers was no big deal with the portable tool setup that we had. We have now worked our way over to the other area of concern when it comes to the levelness of the floor. This is really an unexplainable hole, let's call it. The floor doesn't flex, it's just a very low point in the floor, and to fill that I'm going to be using some tar paper. I used shingles in the past on a bamboo floor that we installed and it worked fantastic. Shingles are a little bit too thick for what we need to do here, so we're going to layer tar paper, staple it down, make sure those staples are not protruding through the tar paper, and then we can simply click our floor together over the top of it.
I made it look straight. I wish I was going
5 to 4 1/4.
I wonder because of the drywall or.
Cuts like butter with the circular saw. Once you work around obstructions and weird cuts, this luxury vinyl planking goes down very, very quickly with the snap together method. I want to show you real quick the DIYTyler never measure cut once situation for these types of floors. When you get to the end here, don't need to measure. Go ahead and flip your board over so the tongue is now pointing at you guys instead of at me, which is the way we're working. I'm going to line up the edge of the board over here against the wall, making sure I have enough expansion. Mark a line right here, and this is what we will cut. And then we will flip that over and we'll have the perfect fit. I wanted to point out what we're doing on the end of, this is going to be the living room, and behind me, this whole wall back here is going to be a built-in from floor to ceiling, and you'll wonder, Tyler, why aren't you filling this gap right here? And that's because we don't want to. It's going to be filled with those living room cabinets, so we didn't want to go through the hassle because pulling this edge tight is the hardest part of doing floors like this. There is a tool that reaches over and grabs, and you can use a hammer. It's a little bit longer than the tool that we're using right now. I would certainly recommend one of those. It'll make that portion of an install like this much easier. We did do a good job of measuring and getting everything nice and square here. As you can see, the gap between the current floor and the walls is very, very good. But again, that's going to be covered by cabinets, which will be future videos. Well, that is a wrap. It is looking fabulous. We moved some things around here so that we could carry on with the other portions. There is about 625 square feet, I believe, of the flooring that we put in today. We didn't quite finish it, as you can see right there by that door. There's a bathroom over there, and the way the tongue and groove is, we need to go into the bathroom to carry on, and we're not quite ready to put the floor in the bathroom. But we are all ready to start putting cabinets in. Kitchen is going to be right behind me, and then over here is going to be the living room built-ins. That'll be built back in the DIYTyler shop, trying to help Dad out, save some money with this terrible situation. Not necessarily the best video that I could have shot for this, as I was trying to keep things moving, stay out of the way of my dad trying to get things done here. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it helped some of you out. If it did, please hammer that thumbs up button, as it helps us out and gets this video in front of more eyes. I'm DIYTyler. You guys have a good one. If you want to know a little bit more about what happened here, stick around and I'll let you know. See you guys later. We're about wrapped up inside today. Wanted to show you what used to be the lake right here. I am standing on what was the water line. We got the boat lifts right here, and we would have a couple boats out there, water skiing, sailing, and whatnot, but not for a couple of years, obviously, because this is farmland right now. That is the stream. It's the stream house, as my dad calls it, which is really a shame. And this natural disaster, which included 2 lakes at least and a couple of dams that failed back in March of this year, March of 2020, I believe, largely overlooked. And many people don't even know what happened here. Almost every house on this lake has damage of some sort, just like our house, our neighbor's house right over here, and a lot of work to fix it. So a lot of families were displaced because there are year-round people that live up here. Ours is a vacation home, obviously. Beautiful place, and unfortunately not being used for many years until they get the dam situation, not a cuss word, figured out. Anyway, not a sob story. There are going to be several projects up here. I'm doing the kitchen for my dad. We are doing the entertainment center in the living room for my dad. Going to be lots of cabinets to build, lots of doors to build, countertops, backsplash going in. We just did the floor and whatnot. But anyway, a little update.